which is the better one of the two to bring in this circumstance. But are we going to see it at all? That's the question. There's a lot of other brawlers which are potentially good choices here to bring in. I think it would be a good time to do it. I think Clash could use the boost, but they're not going to go. Oh, they are going to go with it.
Oh,
on the left-hand side,
and
Rico, the best of both worlds. But Semantic as well has brought it in. So both teams thinking the same things here.
All right, no Rico on SK's side, though, going with Colt and B instead. And for now, AC Milan Clash have got control of both zones. Skyrix falls to Leman. This is not a good start for SK.
Yeah, not great at all, and a chance for Clash to really kind of get into the swing of things. It's still early days for them. They've got plenty of time to really kind of get their groove on here, and they are doing it just... Yeah, they're doing it just that. It's taking both zones. Not a single percentage is done so far from SK.
What is happening, Ark? Teddy was saying earlier today that until today in professional Brawl Stars, he'd never seen a game of Hot Zone where it's 100% to 0. Well, there it is again. AC Milan Clash just destroyed SK.
I mean, Tick is a great brawler to do that early rounds of pressure and control. So I think that that might be something which SK needs to consider bringing in. A thrower would be an ideal choice, but great control and aggression from Clash, and a chance for them to really start to turn this around. And it could happen as quickly as that. We go through a couple of minutes of siege, and then SK get their lead, but then Clash has come in after 2 minutes of Hot Zone and turn the balance. So.
Honestly, I'm shocked by just how powerful Clash were after that. They are making a comeback for sure. And here's some damage, 183 coming from Le Mans and only 121 from Semantic. That's a pretty hefty difference percentage-wise.
Yeah, huge. I mean, it's something which both teams are going to have to consider going into the next game as to, well, I mean, for me, I think it's SK that needs to think on that a little bit more. They're going to have to, sort of go back to their mindset in Siege and think through the comps. And, are they playing this correctly? We saw this a bit earlier today when I think it was with EXO Free Agents going in quite aggressively off the bat. They've got to slow the pace down and get things back under control. I think it's the comp to do it, actually. Jetson swapping to Rico here. And already a big difference now as, SK get off the mark.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. There's actually percentage points going in SK Gaming's favor this time. Although AC Milan Clash still have the advantage, and SK having to get pushed back by Guille on the left side, who is playing Tick to perfection, still dealing damage and keeping Semantic and Jetting away. Semantic is going to push forwards though, try and be a little bit more aggressive and get that Tick out of the way.
Good use of gadget from Semantic just to kind of slow the pace there of what Clash are able to throw their way, and the zone captured there on the right-hand side in favor of AC Milan Clash is a good start, but they've really got to contest this left side, and at the moment Semantic is popping another get to delay that advance as things start to get tied up here. 50% on both sides of things.
Skyrix gets melted by Chaos on the right. And yeah, this is that position. They've got one territory each, one hot zone each. They need to get the other one. Jeton goes down, and it looks like Clash might be able to take control of the left zone. That is not good for SK.
Not good at all. The mid has opened up a little bit now as well, which I think is going to give an advantage here to Clash to be able to get some more angles. And the nice last hurrah from Gear there gets the takedown on Jet, and no messing about. Clash can feel that the momentum is building within their team, and just getting consistent takedowns here. As actually, SK can bring this back now potentially.
Yes, you're right. I was looking at just how good that second last hurrah was from Urgia, and that distracted me from the fact that actually SK are finding their way into the zones. Oh wait.
Not for long. Not for that long. Now it's full control back in the hands of Clash again, and I think they should be able to wrap this one up. Yeah, last hurrah there again from Guille, and just juking with Jetson. ICAS could come in here to do something with this. Now coming back in the mix. Yeah, I think Clash should be safe from now on. Yeah.
All three last hurrahs from Guille there. All three of them guaranteed an elimination. That was quite impressive.
Yeah, and just a great way to bring things back. I think it looks really like they were struggling in Siege, but every game mode can be forgotten about with the next set in mind. So now that things are really leveling up and the mind games can begin, SK can now sink or swim. They can start to let that defeat play on their minds, or they can do what Clash did so perfectly well and go into this next set stronger.
Well, there you have it, Ark. It is 1-1. Both teams have claimed their first set. This is not going to be an easy win on either side. Now, if I remember rightly, last month, the final score was 3-1 in the finals with SK just getting one set. History may be repeating itself, but we're going to be finding out soon as we move on to the next game mode. I don't remember what the next one is. I've got it up here somewhere. But after that, I know that we are now going to see Bounty on Canal Grand coming up later. That's now guaranteed. So very exciting. Chaos really performing well that game, outperforming Jeton on the Rico by a significant margin.
Yeah, it's like I called at the beginning, iChaos honestly does love those Rico lane sides, and you know, I love to see him play it. It's one of my favorite brawlers, and it stands to do such great work on split. And you know, Jeton still an accomplished player by every count of the word, but you know, iChaos definitely a brawler choice for him, and the DPS shows it as well as the kills.
Yep. I mean, you cannot argue with those numbers. They speak for themselves. I believe it is actually going to be a heist on Hot Potato coming up next. So more safe destroying coming up. I'm very excited. I always find it fascinating how the teams interact so differently between Siege and Heist, because I feel like sort of on paper, Arc, they're very similar game modes. There's one objective to like destroy the enemy base, whether it's a safe, whether it's the Ike, whatever. But obviously they play so differently. Siege has so many other things going on with the bolts and the siege bots, etc. Heist, you strip it down to base level. Can you get to their base and destroy it before they can get to yours and destroy yours? And it creates so many different strategies.
Yeah, you've got to decide as to what moment in time to go on the push, what time to go on the defensive. So many decisions to have to make in a very short space of time, sometimes instantaneously deciding as to what the best move is. And that's what separates the best of the best from those that are still up and coming, because you know, you don't have time to your side. Sometimes it can come down to the final second.
It's going to be a complete mirror match once more with Sprouts, Barleys, and Ruffs on both sides. And it's all out war in the center there, as Lennane, instead of going for the save, is actually going to try and do what he can to take out the other teams. But these are some tanky compositions there. Lennane gets the first super down, but isn't able to pick up the buff because he's being held at bay by the other team. He does eventually creep forwards and grab it, and that is going to be a bit of an advantage, at least to start this game.
Yeah, great mid control already, and they're setting their authority early on, digging their heels into the mid. Clash right now, and SK, you know, used to being in a position of authority themselves. They're looking to slow their pace and bring this back in here. Jeton going to be advancing on the left-hand side, and Chaos with good defensive shots to slow him in his pacings. That supply drop from the Colonel Ruffs of Lennane is going to hopefully come into a great effect, especially now as Clash are 2 men down, or 1 man down, sorry.
Well, yeah, Chaos and Lennane really need to stay alive and keep those buffs. That is actually quite important. Only Semantic has the buff so far on the other side, so they need to take advantage of the advantage that they have got, and they need to try and keep SK Gaming at bay. Heals coming in. It's time for Clash to start pushing forwards, try and get a little bit more damage on these brawlers. Good
chance here for Clash to continue the aggression. If you know, Lennane can get another supply drop in the hands of Gear, it will really help on that left-hand side win this 1v1 against Jeton. Semantic taking a few shots, but again, for Sims is such a prominent star power to Sprout those shots, just keeping Semantic barely alive there. If SK can start to push and use some momentum here, they could. There's only 4% damage being dealt out on the safe of SK from Clash, so every moment to turn this around.
All right, Jeton and Guille both have buffs now. Guille goes down, though, losing the buff from the Ruffs. This could be a big opportunity for SK, pushing forwards, starting to deal damage to the safe. That is 2 Sprout projectiles that have hit it, plus a little damage to the Barley. SK have done what they need to. If they can just keep Clash at bay now, they've won the game. There's 2 walls in the way. Chaos is creeping forwards, but he can't quite approach fast enough. It looks like SK Gaming have managed to sneak the win here.
That's the thing, you know, it can come down to 1% or it can come down to a very, very narrow margin, and that may have been the mistake there from AC Milan Clash to not try to capitalize in the moments they had to exert that damage, and it just didn't take much. SK Gaming able to make that moment count here. You see Jeton and Semantic getting the damage they need, and great walls, it must be said, from Semantic to cycle those and just block off all avenues to their safe.
It looks like, once again, Jeton on the Barley was able to do just a little bit more than Guille was. Damage to safe isn't the sort of be-all and end-all, as obviously damage to players was actually, I'd say, far more important in that game, given that the entire game was all-out war in the middle. But at the end of the day, Jeton found an elimination, Guille didn't, and SK were able to etch out a very narrow victory here. Will that continue? Could this be the ultimate revenge for last week? Ark, this finals is not disappointing so far.
Not at all, and look at that, Jeton getting actually not that much damage, but it wasn't very much more than they needed under the circumstances there, so that's why the damage to save being so low as it was. The one kill there was all that was needed, really, and with such a slow-paced game as it was, just to kind of like keep their ground and not lose it as a result of any deaths, I think that is the key story to take away from that scenario.
Yeah, exactly. We are going to move on to the second game of Heist now. Now, Ruffs, Sprout, and Barley was the story of the first game of Heist. Do you think either of the teams are likely to mix this up, or do you think that we're more likely to see a repeat? Never mind. You don't have to answer. You don't have to get it wrong. It's all good.
But I'm still surprised. I was going to say, had I not seen the comp, that Rika would be a solid choice here. As, they have that additional range to be able to get damage from a safe distance. Could definitely go in their favor. Gear going to obviously go with the Daryl pick, which is pretty normal for Gear to go with something quite up close and personal. Already getting some value there as 9% to start things off. Chaos going with the BB. It would have been Chaos that I would have been looking for to go with the Rika. And Lenan going to go with some speed with Max. I think a pretty good comp all round for me from AC Milan Clash to get things going.
Well, it was Clash that got the first little bit of damage, but they are now pushed their backs against the wall. Lenan popping that super. Are they able to capitalize on that? Chaos moving up the right side really quickly. Yes, it looks like he is going to at least get close to the safe, if not get on top of it. Semantic just about able to keep Chaos at bay.
Ronaldo is under pressure. He's going to come back here. I actually did a really nice thing there, using that speed boost to affect both himself to escape the shots from Semantic, but also to get his teammates quickly into the mix there. I think it's a really smart thing. Taken down now by Semantic, and then the mantle then goes over to iChaos to ultimate control, gets a nice bit of value of bubbles straight down the middle, and then giving a nice healthy lead. But again, it's not too much, is it? Is it about 9%? In it here, so SK can still turn this around if they can just start to get the control back in their favor.
Oh, Lenan is going at SK's safe, though, does eventually go down, and now is SK's chance for the counter push. And look at that! Jeton, with that little bit of damage coming in from the Barley, is going to be enough to shift the tide of this battle. Skyrix is coming in as well. The supply drop, not quite hitting Chaos, but at least keeping the other team at bay. AC Milan Clash are looking like they've got one last push in them.
This is the moment now. It is so crazy. Oh. Look at how patient Chaos is being, because he knows he's got something. There it is! He waited that one strike just to make sure it counted, but now it's down to Lana and Guille to hold the fort, because although it is in Clash's favor, Jeton surely looking for a chance to get a super out on the safe here. 10 seconds left, Falcone.
Jeton is going at it. That is 3. That's enough. That's enough damage. AC Milan Clash, 27%. SK not quite able to catch up. It looks like SK are taking Heist.
Yeah. I mean, we sound surprised, but for the majority of those games, it was Clash that had the lead and looked like they were going to go all the way. I think the lesson there to learn is that they've got to get a bigger lead. They've got to exert more pressure on SK, because, you're speechless.
I just don't know what happened at the end there, Ark. It really looked as though more damage had been done to SK's safe, and then I felt like I blinked. I saw Jeton attacking Clash's safe, but the health was so much lower than I thought that it was. More damage had been done than I expected. The fact that SK Gaming were able to take that back at the last second was amazing. We're gonna move on, but AC Milan Clash might be in trouble. Their championship title might be being lost to SK here.
I mean, it would be very poetic, wouldn't it, for last month it to be a 3-1 in favor of AC Milan Clash to be victorious, and then for this month for SK to return the favor with a 3-1. I mean, you can't write half the stories that are occurring today, Falcone.
And it's fantastic. This is what we want to see. We don't want the same team winning every month. We want to see how tight, how close the competition is. We want to see that Clash have maybe, well, not lost their touch a little bit. Rather, we want to see that SK have really been practicing and really been training and getting ready for Revenge this month. And now next month, it's going to be up to Clash to pick things up again and try and, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. SK hasn't won yet.
I gotta say, like, again, Lenan getting some serious points in terms of the damage for his team, and that's a fair amount in favor. He must be doing a ton of work to try to keep things in the mix. But again, Brawl is a team game. Those damage stats about how much you're doing for your team kind of only really reflect that specific instance. It's the overall thing. You win as a team, you lose as a team.
All right, Ark. Next up, it is going to be a bounty on Canal Grand. It's here. It's time. Now, I've talked about this a lot today already. I love this bounty map. The different strategies that players are able to come up with and utilize thanks to the shape, thanks to where the rivers or the water is. I think it makes a huge difference. I'm excited to see what these teams do here.
Yeah, the middle of this map is a key area to keep an eye on, and brawlers like Sprout can make a big impact in how that plays out, and various brawlers will definitely determine that. We got a chance to see some Rosa. Again, no Byron, it is banned. Mr. P and Amber also out of the mix here, so that middle area I think is going to be a key area of focus to keep an eye on in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be important for sure. Once a team gets pushed back to the spawn on this map, they tend to be in a lot of trouble because they just get choked. There's so much sort of preventing free movement in the spawn. Throwers can easily take advantage of that. It's going to be Sprout, Tick, and Ruffs up against... Well, sorry, on both sides, Sprout, Tick, and Ruffs. And I was talking about Throwers. It looks like the players agree with the Tick and Sprout on board on both sides. Ruffs is just very strong.
Ruffs is honestly in a very, very good place right now, and it's not necessarily him as a brawler, as a lone wolf, but more as the dynamics it brings to your team, having those additional supply drop buffs, being able to share them amongst your teammates, such a valuable asset, and that's why we see Ruffs being a great brawler, especially here as well, running that star power, build promotion to keep your teammates in the mix. Applying healing is never a bad thing to have in Bounty.
No, of course. Healing, fantastic. Anything that keep you alive in Bouncy is very important. We see Clash dominating the left side. We see SK dominating the right side. And what is Semantic doing there? Getting a little bit low down. This is what I was talking about when I was saying you have the option to go through the other team's spawn. Something that you don't see often in Brawl Stars in any game type, but on this map specifically, you do a lot of the time. SK all on full health. Clash, Chaos struggling a little bit, taking that little bit of damage, but all things considered, this is pretty even at the moment.
Yeah, it's just nice that, for Bounty to be played out in a horizontal manner. It's not often that you see it in the majority of time in Brawl. It's often a very vertical affair now. This is what Canal Grande does so successfully well. The blue star in favor of, SK could come back around to keep an eye on Semantic and whether he goes down and hands that over. But it is only one kill that is needed for AC Milan Clash to turn this around. Semantic is looking weary, and that was from Guille, and that would be, well, I was going to say applying more pressure, but shut down very quickly by Skyrex.
Oh, SK all got sort of funneled into a corner there, and they've now got 10 seconds to find one elimination, so they're going to have to start pushing. The Tick head does get blown up, and Guille pops the gadget to defend himself anyway. SK were able to find one elimination, though. Can there be an elimination on the other side? No, there can't. SK Gaming now find themselves on match point.
What a huge moment for them. This is what today has been leading up to get on match point against the might of AC Milan Clash, especially in the semi-finals, considering how strong they were performing. This is the story of the day for me. I mean, what an amount of pressure there must be on the shoulders of AC Milan Clash right now.
Honestly, match point, tournament point, monthly finals point, it all comes down to this for SK Gaming. One more win is all it would take. That would make up for their performance last month. They will be going into the May monthly finals, presumably feeling very, very good about themselves if they can take this one down. One game stands in their way.
the bragging rights, and again that storyline of if they can get the same score that Clash were able to get upon them last month, it's going to go a long way in getting inside the heads of Clash going into the next month. But anything can still happen. It can still turn around. Clash have just got to do exactly what they did earlier today and start to fight back. We saw that so well in the semifinals, but so far SK are showing no signs of slowing down.
They're not showing any signs of slowing down whatsoever. AC Milan Clash need to pull themselves together. They're going to have to be wondering between themselves what has changed since last month. Why is this not going the same way? It's going to be the same composition on both sides. It all comes down to this. And that was a very close game. The last game was very close, to be fair. That last moment elimination from SK was enough to do it. GA, very weak there, and it is going to fall already to Symantec. So advantage to SK.
Okay, 5 stars then in favor of SK Gaming. Ticket shut down really nicely by iChaos on that left-hand side as well, but that wall is going to be potentially troublesome. Luckily, he's able to use a gadget to stay in the mix on that left-hand side, but SK looking very clustered for me right now. A good amount of supply drops going round, though, however, that buff going to be very, very difficult for AC Milan Clash to now really attack in that respect, and definitely a lot of pressure now for them to turn this one around.
Yeah, SK need to be very careful not to move too close to their spawn, move too far back. They're losing control of the mid, and that could be a problem. Symantec doing chunks of damage to Lenan and Chaos there, but Lenan is going to give Chaos that little buff, getting ready to go for the rest of the fight. I don't know, Ark, SK are winning, but it feels like they're not in the best position here.
Yeah, if Gear can get a nice pinch here at the angle and a tick head for good measure, Jetton, I'm sure with the last hurrah will shut it down, if not before, if Skarx, yeah, with a nice amount of sandbags there. SK playing this absolute textbook for me right now, but only 1 kill. It will separate them. Symantec goes down here, and great pressure from iChaos on that left-hand side. We'll have to see how this one goes, but I got to say, Clash are in a good spot to get Symantec taken down here. Yeah, no, the gadget!
Oh, that last piece of grass consumed perfectly for Symantec. 13 seconds on the clock. Clash need to find an elimination on Symantec here specifically, or one elimination on each of the other players. Jeton stays alive thanks to the gadget. Skyrex goes, Symantec goes down, but it's not enough. SK Gaming are your April monthly champions for the EMEA region.
I have a heart in my mouth at the end, because honestly it looked like there was no way out for SK. They were completely shut in that corner, but somehow managed to survive, and a couple of deaths along the way, but the stars remained. What a result for them. They are off to a flying start this year.
Absolutely amazing. That's exactly what you love to see if you're an SK fan, or of course if you're a member of SK Gaming. This is what this team's all about. One of the strongest teams historically in Brawl Stars esports. This is their moment now, and Clash, having won last month, they now need to go away, think about things, work out what went wrong, and hopefully come back next month with a better plan.
Yeah, back to the drawing board, and going to have to rethink. And I got to say at the same time that they've had a fantastic day today. AC Milan Clash, they've done honestly so well to even get to the grand finals, especially against those games with EXO free agents earlier today. So I think that regardless to that end result, they're still going to go away with a decent amount of points regardless. And after that win from last month, not the worst of positions for AC Milan Clash to be in, but definitely the story of today, SK Gaming giving them a massive run for their money, and now the competition blown wide open. Honestly,
they've really shown what they're made of today. Whereas Clash were really struggling in the semifinals, like you said, multiple match point moments, SK it felt like they were stomping the competition today.
Yeah, they looked very, very calm and confident, didn't they? Like, they didn't really seem to be, for the majority of the time, out of control. They were, like, very, very focused, and that was a great performance from them.
Absolutely. Looking at some of the stats here, it's very difficult to see from the stars gained what's going on, but Symantec was able to deal a little bit more, or get a little bit more kills on average compared to Chaos. This is just a small example of one of many things that I'm sure went right for SK, but did not quite go right for Clash. Clash, obviously one of the best teams in Brawl, one of the best teams in this region, But they got some work to do to come back next month. Obviously, there's only so many championship spots available, but they're still going to have to fight for them. Plenty more months to go, Ark.
Yeah, the competition is very much still in its infancy. Many more opportunities to come, no doubt about it. There's that team damage again. Semantic, very similar to some of the stats we did see from Lenan actually in Clash today. That 40% team damage, definitely standing out for me. The ratio of kills to death, again, very much in his favor. Semantic, a key component in the SK machine today.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, 40% down, that is considerable, right? 3 members of the team, 33% would be the average. When you're playing Sprout, who isn't necessarily one of the biggest damage dealers, and you're dealing that much damage while also placing walls and doing all sorts, I gotta say, Semantic is my player of the day. And I was thinking about this way back. Cast your mind back to the quarterfinal matches, Ark, where we saw that even the first game of Brawl Ball, there was that really nice wall right at the start, trapping that ball in the corner, allowing the team to have time to put the poker double tank strategy at bay and slow them down. Even then, I was looking at Semantic and being like, you are not playing Sprout like a normal person today, are you? You are playing some next level Sprout.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I noticed in SK myself, is like they are very good at being versatile. We saw on a couple of occasions people just passing brawlers over to each other as well. I think that they are really, honestly, a real force when it comes to their versatility and their ability to control and make the outcome pressurized on their opposition. I think that this roster this year is looking pretty fierce for me. I think that the whole of the EMEA region needs to be very cautious in how they go how they go about approaching their games with SK.
This year, competitive Brawl Stars is bigger than ever. We've got more regions. We've got more players in each of the regions hungry to battle, hungry to find their way to the World Finals. Everyone was watching last year, the World Finals, the biggest event of the year, and everyone wants a piece of that. Everyone wants a piece of our over $1 million prize pool for this year, and who can blame them? Brawl Stars is, of course, a blast to play, but I'll tell you what, it's even more fun to earn money competing and winning.
I mean, taking us back to that interview with Tyron earlier today, I mean, he basically put it into a beautiful perspective where he just was asked the question, why'd you compete? Money. Yeah, just money. I'm not here for any of the spotlight or clout. Just give me the cash.
I definitely don't think that's a general rule for all of the players. Obviously, competing for pride, competing for the glory is a big part of it. And you were saying this earlier today, Ark. A lot of it is also, it's just part of what is a larger career, The players diversifying into content creation, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's the beginning of potentially a life in esports. And that can be very exciting, but also very scary. And I got to tell you that winning big tournaments like this, that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. It drives the cogs and keeps the energy levels high as well as the confidence. So I'm very keen to hear as well, actually, from probably Semantic in person in just a moment. We're going to be getting that interview ready for you guys in just a minute. But I really would love to hear from him as to what has SK been doing. And obviously, we know that Pedro's in the background doing a ton of analytic work and analyzing comps and giving good advisement to the team. But they just look so in control. And I don't know whether you guys have seen as well, there's been a couple of Twitter posts where they've been showing how they communicate as a team, and it's been really interesting to kind of hear in that respect, teams for the first time behind the scenes.
Well, it sounds like, Ark, sadly, we're not going to be getting to hear from SK this month. I guess there are a few problems setting up the interview, but never fear, because instead of bringing on a member of SK Gaming, I think we're still going to bring somebody onto our little final end of the show, and that is going to be our good friend, Teddy. Hopefully Teddy will be joining us in just a moment. There he is. Hey, Teddy. What did you make of that finals?
Yeah, just had to unmute myself real quick. Dude, that was such an exciting match. I have to say, man, SK Gaming being just put in the same situation as last month and able to pull through this time. Not coming, with some negative vibes, thinking we couldn't make it last time. Can we do it this time? Absolutely, man. They absolutely knocked it out of the park, and they showed a really impressive performance.
All right, well, we've got one final thing to look at, and that is going to be the bracket here it is. Let's take a look at who won, although I think we can all remember. It is, of course, SK Gaming. Let's take a look at how today went down. Of course, we started with the Tea Drinkers losing out to Free Agents, which was already an epic battle of some of the strongest teams. One Trick Ponies lost out to AC Milan Clash. SK Gaming beat FA Trio, and then eventually Code Magic took down Master Clappers. That was our quarterfinals. Moving on to the semifinals, AC Milan Clash took out Free Agents, and then SK Gaming stomped Code Magic. Code Magic have clearly got a lot of work to do. And now finally, SK Gaming got their revenge from last month and took down AC Milan Clash, dominating themselves or placing themselves as the best team of the region.
I mean, it just doesn't get better than this, does it? Really? I mean, the amount of talent this year and the way the players are just approaching what is definitely for sure a more competitive format. I mean, just to even get to this point, it is so ruthless. We saw in the qualifiers, teams would just get to that final round, and sometimes that would go on to affect whether they were even able to make it to this point. I mean, Teddy, talk us through watching on the sidelines that game, that final matchup between AC Milan Clash and SK Gaming. I mean, you were able to see it from a different insight. We were obviously caught up in the moment, but you could analyze it. What did you make of it?
I honestly feel like it came down to preparation, man. Like, SK Gaming, they lost to one team in the last month. It was Clash, you know? So this was the match they analyzed. This was the team they were looking at. They were looking at every single mistake they could exploit, at every single thing that could make SK the better team coming into this matchup. And they were just so well prepared that Clash they didn't really know what to do here, man. It just felt like SK were absolutely ready for anything that Clash were throwing on the table.
Yeah, I think Pedro's been doing a ton of homework off that last monthly final and looking through everything that Clash had to share with us. But I mean, Falcone, like, you know, I mean, I'm not one for predictions, as you know, as you rightly pointed out earlier today. I mean, what did you think? Did that kind of like meet with the ideas that you had in your mind going into that match? Did it kind of like fit the bill, or were you kind of surprised to see it turn around?
So obviously I didn't cast the EMEA region last month. You know, I watched bits of you guys doing it, but I can't help but come in with my perception of SK is really one of the spectacular teams from last year. But then again, so is Clash. And I look at the bracket from last month. I look at how Clash took SK down with a 3-1 win. And so I will say, no, I do expect kind of history to repeat itself. But clearly SK have worked on their stuff and they've come back ready to fight. I'll tell you what, Ark, my takeaway from today is that the EMEA region is going to be one to watch this year.
It's just like the competition's just so intense, right? And that's the thing I love about Europe, is that everyone just kind of comes together and really gives us a good run for their money. Let's take a look at the leaderboards at the minute and just kind of see and recap how things are shaping up in that case. Teddy, talk us through what you're seeing.
Oh my, look at this very slim difference. It makes sense, right? Since SK and Clash had, you know, the opposing results. Month one, SK was in second place, Clash in first place. Month two, now we have SK taking the win once again against Clash here. So the 2 points difference comes from 2 points in the Swiss format qualifier. So that's the very, very slim margin. It does drop down then afterwards for top three. That's EXO at 134 points. Master Clap is 117. FA3 at 104, and that's leaving some big names out of that top five. The top five that would be going to World if we were ending the season right now. I'm thinking notably about Code Magic and Tea Drinkers that we would be expecting in that top five aren't quite up to the task just yet, but I'm expecting some more action from them coming into the next few months.
Yeah, Master Clappers and FA Trio, they're just sandwiching themselves in between some really, really big names. And, you know, EXO Free Agents, I think, you know, would have done exceptionally well to even increase their lead today. And there's a very good amount of chances to do so. But the top three giants there still remain. You know, Falcone, we're going to be getting the pieces together soon for the play of today. Is there anything that stood out to you as being particularly exciting in that respect?
Oh, it's so difficult. Like it feels like there's so much to think back to. And I think have I just been saved by the bell? Have I just been saved? I think we're going to be shown rather than told.
Let's go. Let's ignore your predictions. I want to see it. I've got a fair idea myself as to what I think it might be, but I'm still really looking forward to it. It is going to be that moment then in the match between EXO free agents and AC Milan clash. This is where Yoshi had to really make that moment count on the defensive. It's so intense. I mean, that was match point number 5, 6. I don't know what it was, Teddy, you were counting, but this moment here as Lenan went to the shot, the save off the line, and then Chaos with another shot saved again by Yoshi. And then the pass back to Lenan, and yet another save just before the death, and 100 HP. I mean, it completely blew my mind.
That was insane. How often do you see a ball saved and then hit again and then saved and then hit again and then saved again? That was insane, Teddy.
Yeah, man, it just felt like Yoshi was unstoppable. And to be honest, it was just on par with his entire performance today. I know they only made it all the way to the semifinals, couldn't quite reach the finals this time. But man, they played so well, and EXO is going to be a team we need to keep an eye on as well coming into the next couple of months.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of big names this year that I think, you know, kind of maybe dominated a lot last year and got a lot of like eyes on. Whereas this year, I think that we're going to see a little bit of both, you know, some newer teams coming into the mix and some people that maybe get underestimated along the way. And I think that any team worth their salt this year will be very cautious on how they view their competition and what they go in thinking in regards to those matchups. I think that if you underestimate any team,